Unit 1, Business Environment, P1. The aim is to understand the different types of business. The objective is to describe the type of business, purpose and ownership of businesses. Business activity typically involves one person or organisation providing a product or service that they supply to someone else. Usually this involves payments. Think of things you might have needed or wanted this week. Business activity helps you to meet these requirements, and various businesses have set up to do this. For example, there are many businesses on the high street that now provide services such as hair salons and cafes due to the level of demand that has arisen over a period of time. A physical product is an item that you can touch and see, such as a loaf of bread, a pen, or a jar of coffee. A service is something that provides satisfaction to the buyer because it is helpful to them, but does not consist of a physical item, such as car insurance or banking services. A visit to a coffee shop may provide you with both a physical product and a service. The physical product is the cake or the coffee that you drink or you eat, and the service includes being waited on by the member of staff that pours you the coffee. Profit and non-profit organisations. Many businesses are set up to make a profit. To make a profit, a business needs to make sure that the money it receives from the sales activities more than cover all of its running costs. The business needs to provide goods that customers are willing to buy at prices higher than the actual cost of supplying the goods. But not all businesses are set up to make a profit. Some businesses do not always seem to sell their products for a profit. Sometimes they do so at cost. Supplying costs occurs when the money received from selling a product is equal to the cost of supplying that product, and may be done for a variety of reasons. For example, a charity that you may be familiar with, a not-for-profit organisation such as Oxfam, raises money for famine relief. However, it is not just a charity, it is also a highly professional organisation that sells second-hand items on the high street and at many retail locations. While the business may enjoy a reduction in business rates, it makes it very competitive, and because of the high quality of service and its low cost of operations, it has recently driven a number of independent second-hand booksellers out of business. Ownership, public, private and voluntary sectors. In the public sector, businesses are owned by the government or by agencies appointed by the government to provide a service. In a private sector, businesses are owned by individuals. An individual owner is typically a single owner of a group of partners, or the owners will be shareholders. In the voluntary sector, organisations typically have groups of trustees responsible for overseeing the work of the organisation. Types of organisation. Owners are the people to whom a business belongs. A sole trader and a partnership businesses are not only owned by the owners, they are controlled by them. Control refers to the decision making. For example, a business owner might want to make decisions about what he wants to sell, who he employs, and what time he opens and shuts his shop. Shareholders are people who put capital, so they put money into the business. They receive a reward for the risk that they have taken in the form of a return, and this is known as a dividend. This is paid out from the company's profits. A sole trader business is owned and controlled by one person. It is the most common type of business and is found in a wide variety of activities such as cleaning, plumbing, window cleaning and electrical work. Decisions can be made quickly and its close contact can keep customers and employees, and all profits go to the sole trader. But there are many disadvantages of being a sole trader. To make decisions all by yourself, it can be difficult, and you may have to work very long hours. Another disadvantage is you do not have the legal protection of a limited liability. This means that if a business runs up a debt and the owner is unable to meet those obligations, the business owner has unlimited responsibility and will be liable for all of the debts. Partnerships. A partnership is usually formed by signing a deed of partnership. This sets out how profits will be shared and the different responsibilities and payments to partners. With the paperwork being supervised by a solicitor, partnerships are typically found in professional work. For example, your local dental practice might be a partnership, or your solicitors might be a partnership. People in business partnerships can share knowledge, skills and workload, and it makes it easier for them to raise capital. When one partner goes ill or goes on holiday, the business can cope because they've got another partner to help run the business. However, there are many disadvantages of being a partnership. People can fall out and have disagreements. Ordinary partnerships do not have limited liability, therefore they don't have that protection. Partnerships can rarely borrow or raise large amounts of capital. Business decisions may be very, very difficult and also slower because you need to consult the different partners and come to a decision. There may be disagreements about how things are done, and profits do have to be shared. Since 2003, a limited liability partnership was created in Britain, and that's to protect the owners and give them limited liability. Public and private limited companies. A limited company has to be registered before it can start to operate. The owners of the limited company are its shareholders. They elect directors to represent their interests. A managing director is the senior director on the board. The board consists of executive directors who make the major policy decisions about the business, and some non-executive directors. These provide specialist advice and offer links with other businesses. Shareholders put funds into a limited company by buying shares. They are able to have their say about the way the business is run when they attend an annual general meeting each year. At this meeting, the shareholders are able to question company policy, vote out the directors, and take actions about decisions within the business. A private limited company tends to be smaller than a public one and are often family run. There must be at least 2 shareholders, but there are no maximum number. Shares in a private limited company cannot be traded on the stock exchange and often can only be bought with the permission of the board of directors. Private limited companies may find it possible to raise cash by selling shares than unlimited liability businesses. The shareholder can also have the protection of limited liability. But public limited companies are different slightly. Public limited companies have their shares bought and sold on the stock exchange. The main advantage of these are that large amounts of capital can be raised very quickly. Yet there is a disadvantage. The disadvantage is the control of the business can be lost by the ordinary shareholders if large quantities of shares are purchased as part of a takeover bid. It is also quite costly to have shares quoted on the stock exchange. Government departments and agencies are run differently also. A government department, like the Department for Customs and Revenue, operates on behalf of the government, and it is staffed by civil servants, known in this department as Customs and Revenues. Government agencies are more independent than government departments. The government sets these up to take the responsibility for a particular activity, for example, the Child Protection Agency. Workers' cooperatives. A worker cooperative is a body that is owned by the people who work for it. A worker cooperative has limited liability. To become a member of a cooperative, an employee would have to buy a share in the organisation. Each member has one vote in making decisions. This is democratic and prevents one individual or a few individuals gaining control. Members receive a share of the profits of the business in the form of a dividend. When they leave the cooperative, they can take their funds back. The basic principle behind a worker cooperative is that those who do not work should get the work should get the rewards. They tend to be small-scale local enterprises. A charitable trust. A charity is an organisation that is set up to raise funds and support other people, or a good cause. The business objectives of charities is to create a surplus to use for helping others. A surplus occurs when the revenue, so the money coming into the charity, is the greater than the cost of running the charity. The management of the charity work is overseen by a group of trustees who are volunteers and reputations are responsible citizens. Many will have a range of experience in both charity and business activities. Charities have to register as such and may produce annual accounts that are available to be viewed. Charities employ paid managers and workers, unlike voluntary organisations which rely on the goodwill of their staff. I hope this helps.